Hello and welcome to Sporthy Girl episode 13. The title of this one is If I Was a Man, Would You Ask Me That Question? I believe we need a balance of male and female energy to be most successful, not only in business but also within ourselves. The left hemisphere of the brain is supposedly the male energy, while the right hemisphere is female. Male energy is taking action and logical thinking, while female energy is innovation through creativity and intuition. The title of this episode pertains to women in business and how we are not treated the same as our male counterparts. The stories I'm about to tell are all my personal experiences. I know that the tables can be turned and some men may have experienced similar discrimination. However, since I have worked in male-dominated industries most of my life, I have not witnessed men as the targets. I used to do work as a commercial real estate appraiser when I first started in 2009. The typical appraiser was 60 years old and male. In my first interview, I was asked if I was going to have any more kids. Everyone knows that question is illegal to ask. When I got that job, it was as an appraisal trainee. In the appraisal industry, you don't get paid by the hour, you get paid by the percentage of each appraisal job you do. Not only was I learning the job, but I was asked by my hiring manager, who was a 50-year-old white guy, to do secretarial jobs for him. I called him on this, and he said that he would pay me more out of the commissions from the appraisal jobs we were working on for the secretarial work. Yet once I started completing reports, he would say that I didn't do a good enough job, and since he had to spend time working on it, he was deducting my pay. I watched other appraisers try to make the girls in the office fix issues with their reports and not pay for them as well. Within 9 months, I was transferred to another office away from my hiring manager due to him lying to the big boss about some things, and yet he did not get fired for it. At another appraisal company, the manager who oversaw the workflow and distributed the work would give higher paying jobs to the men. His excuse was that they had families to support. At that time, I was a single mom with 2 kids I was supporting all on my own. I definitely wasn't there for my health. The job was so stressful that it was actually causing me health problems. I didn't have a wife at home taking care of the household, so I was also working when I got home to make dinner, clean the house, pick up and drop off kids, help with homework, etc. At another appraisal firm, I had a younger manager who was a bully. He discounted my abilities and my work. When I pushed back, he told me he didn't give a crap about what I thought. I called the big boss and threatened to quit if I wasn't transferred to another office. I had already been bullied by my ex, who I was taking back to court at the same time this was happening, and I had no capacity to deal with yet another a-hole who didn't care, didn't listen, and made more work for me. I also read an email that this manager had sent to a male coworker reprimanding him for something. The email to my male coworker was much more respectful than the treatment that I was receiving. While working for the bully, I was looking to get out of appraisal and started talking to a commercial real estate broker who wanted to bring me on as a partner of his sales team. At the time, it was just him, but he was recruiting another kid straight out of college who lived at the time 2 states away, with little commercial real estate experience. On top of that, it was obvious that this kid was being hired for his perceived potential, an opportunity that a female would never receive. He brought the kid on as a 50-50 partner, which he had also promised me, yet once I received my offer in writing, I was the glorified administrative support for the 2 guys. On top of that, any deals that I had brought in, they were going to give me 30% of my own commission while they split the other 70% between the 2 of them. Any jobs that they brought in, I got only 10%, but still had to work on them as much as any other job. The funny part about all of this was that I had more education than the 2 of them, more experience in the local area, and more contacts. The old broker kept telling me he was going to promote his business by bragging that he had a seasoned appraiser on his team, which was me. When he presented this offer to me, he was so proud of himself, like he was doing me a favor. Even though at the time I was desperate to get out of appraisal, I told him that what he was offering me as compensation I could make in a week as an appraiser, so why would I ever take an offer like that? Then, the very next day, I got an offer from a small investment company. The compensation was too low, but offset by a higher bonus. After trying to negotiate a higher salary and failing, I took the job anyway. It was my ticket out of appraisal. About 6 months into the job, the owner of the company tells me that if we needed to hire any more people, he would just hire more girls, that he could underpay and offset it with a higher bonus that he didn't have to pay if business went south. It was such a nonchalant statement. It seemed like he thought I was stupid and had no clue that he had done the same thing to me. My last story happened while fighting for full custody of my 2 kids and being granted a no-contact order from the courts. My ex and I had been divorced for 10 years when I took him back to court around the same time COVID lockdown happened. We had to go to mediation first before the case could be heard in court. In mediation, it was me and 4 older guys, my attorney who was in his 50s, the mediator who was also an attorney and in his 60s, my ex and his attorney who I couldn't see since we were in a Zoom breakout per COVID protocol. I was asking my ex to complete drug and alcohol, anger, and domestic abuse assessments. He shot back saying that I needed to do an anger assessment because I told him to F off. When the mediator came back with that information, he asked if that was true, and I said yes. That happened 10 years prior, only once. When I found out from my 6-year-old son that my ex was watching porn in front of him, and my son was highly disturbed by it. When I confronted my ex about it, he did what he always did. He played dumb and told me that he had no idea what I was talking about, then tried to twist everything around on me and start blaming me for something. And do you know what the mediator asked next? Did you do it in front of the kids? If I had been a man, do you think that he would have asked that question? I highly doubt it. Some men are chauvinists and don't even know it, yet undermine us on a daily basis like that. He was looking for fault in my actions instead of doing his job as the impartial third party. My biggest question now when talking to men, especially when it comes to my livelihood and self-respect, is, if I was a man, would you be asking me that or offering me that? I hope you enjoyed this episode, and you can find me also at sporthygirl.com. And until next time, thank you.